excited. And so we're going to go ahead and start and show you how we did Harvest Highlight. Okay, so a quick overview. Again, we're going to tell you what we did, how we came up with it, what was our strategy. We also did a survey, I believe in 2019, in these same, almost same 5 pilot markets. And so I want to share a little bit of that information with you as well. We'll show you the program components, step-by-step how-tos, truly how you can do this in your market. Now, there was a lot of preparation that went into this, but it doesn't matter how much or how little time that you have to, this is not one size fits all. So you can do it on a smaller scale, on a larger scale. If you're a grower that actually has, on-site sales, you can also do it there. So there's many ways that this can look. We'll also show you what you need to create your own. A few lessons learned. We'd learned some lessons during COVID, that's for sure. And then live cooking demonstration. So without further ado, okay, so what is Harvest Highlight? Harvest Highlight is a collaborative project between the ONIE project and OSU Extension SNAP-Ed that aims to highlight a seasonal vegetable each month found at Oklahoma farmers markets through a multi-component social marketing strategy utilizing behavioral nudges. Whew, that's a mouthful. So, but there truly is a strategy to this. This isn't just like, we want to cook together and collaborate. So we want to show you what this strategy is. I apologize. I feel like I'm neglecting this side of the room. Okay, so this is kind of our multi-component social marketing strategy. So there really is several different nudges. There's different things that we're doing with this. So we're really trying to show people how easy it is to purchase the vegetables at our market, purchase the produce, how we can actually prepare it. So we had fun family events. You'll see the farmers market tours and how you do that. We also had the how-to cards. So when we say how-to cards, that means these cards. And if you turn it over, it actually shows you different information. So if you see that here, this is what we call the how-to side. And this truly shows people how to use this. So I realize that this is lettuce. And so lettuce is pretty easy to use. You can do just about anything with it and it tastes yummy. But things like eggplant, some of those other, different items that people may not know how to use, that's really what these cards came from. This is really a solution that some of our vendors said, hey, I grow these eggplants. They grow really well here. I can't get anybody to buy them because nobody knows what to do with them. So this is where one of the reasons why that nudge came into play. We also know that fruit and vegetable display, making it pretty, making sure that it looks attractive, that it looks like it's well stocked. All of those things are really helpful. Food samples don't hurt. Can't do them during COVID, but they do help. Social media ads, we also had a promotional component as well. We do have online resources for those that don't want to take paper. We had those. We have promo videos, our healthy recipes, and last but not least, and very fun, is our cooking demonstrations. Okay, so what was the ONIE project role? So when you say collaborate, how do you truly collaborate, especially with 2 different implementing agencies? Well, the cool thing is we have a lot of the same strengths, but we also have different strengths. So ONIE is a really small team, and we are centrally located. So we are housed on the OU Health Science Center campus. We're a small team. Well, guess what? OSU has trained professionals across the entire state. And so it was very neat for us because often ONIE will create materials, but we can't go across the state to truly bring them to all the markets. So we really rely on partners like all of you to take these materials into the community. And so that's truly what we did with OSU. So we helped train the NEA, so they do receive training every year. We also trained on this project to really talk about specifically the behavioral nudges. So setting the cards next to the produce, so you truly see this is how you use the lettuce, little tips and tricks like that. We also provided example tours and cooking demos to show truly what we were looking for, and some of those highlighting tips. We also introduced market management to OSU NEAs, so really making that connection, which is really important. So our team has a really good connection with them across the state, all of you, but making sure that everyone feels comfortable. Scheduling and managing Facebook. I don't know if any of you do social media. It takes a ton of time, but it is also very, very important because it helps get your awareness out. So people know to come to your market because you're doing a farmer's market tour. You're doing a live cooking demonstration. So that's really helpful, but it is time consuming. Develop the content. help support NEAs during cooking demonstrations. Sometimes we would all, both be there. And then co-brand recipe cards. And I think that's really important when you look on the materials, making sure that everybody's logo is there to see that it truly is, that everyone is part of that resource. Okay, so what was OSU Extension's role? So Facebook Live market tours, they were truly the boots on the ground. They were the ones that were really going, they were the face of all of it. So because it's so important that NEAs, when they, do I have any A's in the room? No? Dang, okay.
Coordinator, but she had to leave a few minutes ago.
Oh man, okay. Well, it's really important because they're well known in their communities. They have connections, and that partnership, that connection with their community is really important. And it is not something that you can create out of nothing, and it's not something that our staff can do. So it was really important that these NEAs did it for their communities. So they featured produce of the month during the market tours, a variety of markets, a variety of products at the market. They would highlight how to use SNAP benefits at the market. So they truly would go around, talk to each of the vendors, highlight the produce, really show that connection in the market. So the other thing that they did was they followed up a few days later with a live cooking demonstration. So you're seeing the same face when you're doing the tour. And then a few days later, you also see, sorry, I just saw camera. You also see the same person doing a cooking demonstration. And it's really important, again, that connectivity, that community, those are the things that are really important at farmers markets. We all know that community and connectivity with our customers is really important. And so it was really important to us that the NEAs were the same people as well. They also would show how to prepare the recipe. They would review how to select and store. So all the content that you see on this piece of paper, that is what they were reviewing. Just to show you the participating markets. So Lawton Farmers Market, OSU OKC at Scissortail, Sapulpa, Okmulgee, and Muskogee. Do I have anyone from those markets in this room? Ah, there we go. Yeah. So these were our 5 markets for our pilot project for Harvest Highlight. And so it was really neat to see the community really wrap around this project and be excited. All right, so let's get to some facts. So like I had said, this started out as a pilot. And we did a little bit of research to figure out what our participants wanted at these specific markets to kind of know, are they aware of their farmers market? What about vegetable consumption? There are a few things that we wanted to know. The only difference, there was one market that was slightly different. I believe it was Mustang instead of Sapulpa for the surveys, right? Okay. So the purpose was really to understand participants' knowledge and awareness of farmers markets, reasons for shopping at the farmers markets, which I'm excited to share with you. Is farmers market shopping associated with higher fruit and vegetable intake? And is there an association between farmers market shopping and food literacy? So as far as who took the survey, live within 10 miles of the farmers markets. They were able to read and write in English, at least 18 years old, and they are SNAP participants that took the surveys. So I actually got to administer some of them. It was really fun to talk to people. Okay, so a few quick results. We could spend all day on this, but a few quick results. There really weren't any significant differences between awareness scores of shoppers and non-shoppers in farmers market locations. So I think there's a few ways to read that, but I do think it's really important to see that awareness seems to be pretty high in communities, especially in these 5 communities. So I think that's important. Shoppers had significantly higher scores for both fruit and vegetable intake and food literacy than non-shoppers. So that's something important to know. And then shoppers had significantly higher scores for fruit and vegetable intake. Oh, that one's my fault. Sorry, there was a 3rd bullet point there. Okay, so as far as barriers and facilitators for shopping in the market, I think this is something that's really useful for you all and for your markets, just to kind of know and hear from your SNAP shoppers what's truly important to them, what helps them shop, and what stands in the way. So the biggest barrier for shopping at the market was they didn't know where the markets were located. So really making sure that, if you're doing Facebook, if you're doing social media, any sort of promotion, really make sure that you're letting them know where your market is and what those hours are is really important. Oh, and these all say 1. That's fun. Well, life. They're all very important. No, I'm just kidding. They go in order. So second is they get what they need other places. So we know that's something that we are up against. Other was a few different options of things. I don't know that that was a big help, but the other part was that it was out of the way or it wasn't close to their home. So location was really some of the biggest barriers. And as far as facilitators, so fresher produce, they really, really liked knowing that the produce was fresher. They felt like it was fresher. So I think using that information and really highlighting that when you're promoting your market, promoting your product, I think that's really helpful. The fact that SNAP, EBT, those benefit programs are even available was a huge facilitator for them. So again, making sure that people are aware, using that SNAP signage. And then supports local farmers. That was also something we saw not only on this survey, but with our senior survey that we did for another project. That was a really big highlight, is that it supports local farms and that they have connectivity with the growers. All right, so we all know what happened. We don't have to go over that. But we tried to launch this pilot in 2019. So we did our survey results and then COVID hit. So we were not able to do it exactly how we wanted to. As you all know, it was an evolving situation. Safety protocol was changing. The timeline was unknown. So just know that sometimes when these projects are being launched, you never really know what's going to happen. But there were some solutions that we were able to do too. So instead of doing in person, we did virtual. And so we're really going to hit on that component today, because I think that's a really interesting way to reach your participants, reach your shoppers, especially if you're living in really rural areas, if people are not able to come to your market as often. So hopefully we can get them there to shop on one day, but they can still watch the cooking demonstration afterwards. And so of course we couldn't do food samples, and then masking and distancing. Okay, so let's talk about the fun part now. So live farmers market tours. This one, it was really, really fun. Again, they were hosted by OSU NEAs. Sometimes there would be one person, sometimes there were two. We typically tried to always have two there if possible. It's really helpful to just have two people, because one is working the camera, one is talking, and it just really kind of helps. Market hours and location. So these are some of the things that they kind of highlighted that I want to make sure, if you choose to do this type of project for yourself, that you're also including this information, because it's really important and helpful for people. We were at some of these markets, and hearing people say, oh, I saw you on Facebook earlier, that's why I'm here, is really rewarding to understand. It's really important, and this information is important to share. So again, market hours and location. Feature some produce of the month. So whether that's one item or just walk around the market and truly show what's available, because people, when they know, oh, your peaches are there, or, oh, they really want to know, oh, it's tomato season, I'm coming for that. They love to interact with vendors, so they want to see you interact with the vendors as well. And so it doesn't have to be really formal, and that's kind of one, I'm a little silly, but one, I think two, I just like that informal feel. They like people being genuine. They want to know there's a real person behind the camera. So interacting with vendors, showing a variety of products, highlighting how to use SNAP, maybe going to the table, being careful, that there may not be somebody there at the time, but just going through the process to really truly show that, and the benefits of the market. Okay. All right, so I'm going to kind of just walk you through what was going on in this one. So these are screenshots from Lawton Farmers Market, and this was, go Lawton, right? Go Comanche County. I didn't know that county. Okay, so it's really nice. So the first thing that you want to do when you're doing a live market tour is you want to make sure and promote it before you do it. If the first time that people hear about your live tour is when you're already live, it's too late for them to get there and follow along. So you can do this in person depending on what the protocol is now, but I'm going to share with you how we did it virtually. So we can modify this, but it's really important. You need to promote your event, whether it's live or it's virtual. Okay, so then next, you need to introduce yourself. I think it's really important for them to know who the voice is behind the camera and who you are. And so I watched this video a couple of times getting my screenshots, but it was really fun to watch them introduce themselves. These two interacted a lot, and it was really helpful. So, okay, they introduced themselves. Next up, we're talking to vendors, showing their different produce. What do you have today? How are you? What's going on? Again, highlighting some of those popular items. I believe in this video, she was showing how to pick a watermelon. So she was kind of going through and, like rolling them around, playing with them, and just kind of showing people the good quality of the produce. Again, just talking to more vendors, Actually seeing shoppers there. I think that was really helpful to see that there was liveliness at the market. Let's see. And just kind of also seeing the signage. People really we've heard from participants before, they really like to see what they're going to expect at the market. So they want to see, what does your market look like? Who are your vendors? Where are they from? They like to see that. Okay, so after you do the live cooking demo or the live farmers market tour, so a lot of the markets are typically on a Saturday, and so they would typically follow up. Was it on a Tuesday?
Yeah, sometimes Tuesday or Wednesday, depending
Mhm.
on their, calendar.
Yeah.
Because the NEA sometimes have teaching classes in the community. Sometimes if they could not change their schedule, they
Mhm.
will do it on a Monday or Wednesday. But yeah, within 3 days.
Okay. Yeah. So making sure, it doesn't have to be on the same day of the week, but again, that's where that communication via Facebook, letting them know during the live tour, they said, I'll see you all on Tuesday. We're going to be making this recipe. So really promoting that and making sure that there's that connectivity from the market tour, and then seeing that produce go from the market to the home or to the kitchen, and then cooking that and preparing a really yummy meal. So that's really helpful. Okay, so then we get to the fun part, and it's the live cooking demonstration. So a few days later, now we're going to use our produce that we bought at the market. So again, hosted by the same NEA that hosted the tour. Again, friendly, familiar face. We're going to prepare ingredients that we bought from the market. So, I think there's a couple ways to do it. You don't have to buy the produce on the video, especially if you have lots of vendors. That might cause some, favoritism issues. But you want to make sure that you are highlighting when you are cooking, where did you get that? So where did that lettuce come from? What farm was that from? Or what vendors sell lettuce at your farm or your farmer's market, right? So really making sure to talk about the ingredients that you use. Maybe there's some fun facts in there. Maybe, you visited somebody's, on-site farm to actually go pick up some of the ingredients. So really making it personable about your market, your vendors, and where you got that produce. The other one is how to review how to select, store, prepare, and featuring the produce. It's usually very pretty. It's very, it's fun. But a lot of times we've heard from participants, well, okay, even if I bought these fresh herbs, I don't typically cook with fresh herbs. So I don't know how to store them. I really don't know how to prepare them. How good are they? For, is it a week? Is it 3 weeks? So they really enjoy and put a lot of weight into what these NEAs are sharing with them, because they're looking to the experts for this information. So they really enjoy that information. And of course, it's also on their material. So if you're doing in-person demonstrations, you can have these materials, hand them, and if they want to cook along with you, that's a wonderful idea. But again, we did it during when we were distancing and doing virtual, so not quite as possible. Okay, so again, let's see here. Wish I could read this one. Say what?
I think this is where the pizza stuff.
Not quite yet. Almost there. Okay, so the demo gives viewers a real-time cooking experience. I think that's one thing that is really important about cooking demonstrations. It's one thing to say it's easy, it's healthy, it takes 20 minutes. But if you truly cook along with them and show them that start to finish, the meal is done in 20 minutes, that's a lot more powerful than, just saying, oh, trust me, it's really easy to do. Of course, the best option is if they get a hands-on experience themselves at home. That's wonderful, but that may not always be possible. Again, highlighting some of those easy preparation tips, things like that. You do need some basic kitchen equipment, but it doesn't have to be fancy. We've cooked with just about every kind of equipment possible, high and low. There's all kinds of stuff. So just basic equipment is needed. Typically you want it ready in 30 minutes or less, but I was watching some of the cooking demonstrations this week. Anywhere from about 20 to 40 minutes were the live videos, because you don't want them to be too short. Then people don't have an opportunity to actually join and watch you. You want to give them an opportunity to join in. Facts about the ingredients and cooking tips. What's your favorite thing about the recipe? If you've never tried it before, that's okay. But if you've had this recipe before, share something. Again, make it personable. They want to see you, and it's nothing is more fun than watching somebody else enjoy what they're doing, right? And of course, if you want, take a bite. Yum, right? Again, be authentic. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm trying to be a model of that right now. And then if you're feeling a little bit nervous, I would suggest having a partner, because there's two reasons why. One, because they can run the technology, they can run the camera. You can also do it yourself. During COVID, I would do Facebook Lives from my house. So I would run around, hit the button, then run back and like pretend like I was presenting to an empty house. It's a little odd, but it's really helpful to have a partner. And so I think that's something good to know. And then the other thing is make conversation. So, you know, anytime that you're cooking with someone, if you feel like you're going to run out of things to say, or you're just a little bit nervous, highly recommend having a partner, because it's very easy to have dialogue. And again, cooking with a partner is more fun anyways. So it's ideal if you can, but also you don't have to. Okay, so you guys have already seen the materials, but I want to go over a few different things, and kind of that behavioral nudge that we were talking about is placing these little recipe cards next to the actual produce so people can take them. So again, they're featuring locally grown produce items, description of the different types, how to select them, how to prepare, how to store, different tips. And again, healthy recipes are always really helpful because people will purchase them if they know what to do with them. I've been at a farmer's market before. So I live in Norman. I've been at the Norman farmer's market before, and I was a little hesitant to buy something because I was like, oh, I'm not sure. I need to find a recipe first. I'm not sure. And it was an English cucumber. She said, nope, here you go. This one's for you. You figure it out, report back to me next week. Let me know how it went. And it was really good. So it's just fun to try new things. Okay, a few different visual aspects of the cards. I think it's really important. Visuals are very important. Like we learned, there is a difference in food literacy between participants. And so pictures anytime you can is much better. And also, who doesn't want, you know, I can describe different varieties of lettuce to you all day long, but what's better than a picture? You can look at it, you can see it at your market, you can purchase it. Let's see, pictures of recipes featuring produce. So I think the other thing is often people get intimidated. What do I do with this produce? So, you know, you can put it on a burger, you can make tacos out of it. Why not make a salad? So there's many different ways that you can encourage them to use this produce item. Different visual cues. And then we've started adding a QR code to the link as well, to go directly to it on our website. Yeah, if you weren't a QR code person, we all are now, right? Okay, the other thing is here at ONIE, we create all of our materials in-house. So if there's ever something that you know at your market, you have a tough time selling, you need a resource, you've never seen a resource for something that may be, you know, slightly different, let us know. We're constantly creating materials and we can help. We will share these materials with you. So they're all free of charge to SNAP accepting markets. Okay, so a few things that we learned from the pilot market, or from the pilot project. So expect the unexpected, right? So all kinds of things. A few examples for you. I forgot a can opener today. So guess what? We had to go run and get a can opener. That was my fault. Excuse me. So practice going live before your market tour and your cooking demonstration. You never want to cook something. Hold on. Sorry, guys. You want to practice going live. You never want to do something for the first time, like on camera, right? I have learned that lesson before. You never want to cook the recipe for the first time on you know, the very first time. I was just telling Diana and Candy earlier that I cooked fish for the first time in a recipe live, and man, it was a disaster. I burnt it. It was terrible, and I was supposed to be the expert. So you don't want to do that. So learn from me. Don't do it, okay? Or sometimes if you shoot the live video and it's sideways, you know, because you forgot to flip your phone, you want to make sure that you do all that stuff. So go ahead and try it, play around with it. A really important thing, communicate with your vendors. You don't want to show up that day and you walk up and say, hey, you're on live video, talk. Like that's not going to work out for you. So if you let vendors know, if you kind of just let everybody at the market know, often they'll wear, you know, you wear your shirts, you have all of your logos on, they're kind of be prepped, you know, and if people also are not comfortable being on camera, they'll tell you. And so that way you just have a really good rapport on camera. Okay, social media promotion, again, is really important. Making it personable, sharing details about the vendors. Where did you get your produce? That is really helpful. Again, have a helper so they can respond to questions from the live audience. I think that's helpful as well, because again, if you're going to be talking, you don't have time to answer all the questions. And so if questions are coming in, then your helper can read them to you and you can respond live on camera. People like to know that there is a real person behind that camera. Okay. And then anticipate possible audience questions. Again, if you know that there's probably going to be a question about a new produce item that you're featuring, or maybe something that you just know people are going to ask, go ahead and anticipate that and pull together some of those talking points. Okay, so how do you make a program like this at your market or at your site? So there's a few things that you're going to need. There are some must-haves that you have to do, especially if you're going to do it virtually. You have to have a social media account. You need a smartphone or a tablet, something with a data plan, or you have to have Wi-Fi at your market. That's a must. You're going to need produce, because again, we don't want to shop with, yes, you're going to have to get some ingredients possibly at other places, but it's really important. The whole purpose of this is to really highlight your produce and your items from your market. And it doesn't just have to be produce. That was just for our project, but you can buy your meat, buy your eggs, buy all of your products from the market. That makes it even better. You will need a little bit of a budget for paper products and for your food, basic cooking equipment, cleaning supplies, and recipes, but we can help you with that. There's a way to order them online. We can provide all of those. Happy to do it. There are a few things that are helpful, but they're not really required. Again, a helper is really nice. Simple technology, things like a monopod, which is just a tripod with one stick, right? It's really helpful because after a while, after 40 minutes of walking around your market, your arms are going to get really tired. So they have these little monopods. They're pretty cheap. And so you can put your cell phone on it. It's really helpful. And it also keeps it stable so it's not shaky. Again, a lesson learned that we've learned over the years. Tripods are also helpful for cooking demonstrations. It can be a tabletop one. You can order them just about anywhere, and they're actually pretty inexpensive. You can also buy expensive ones, but it doesn't have to be fancy, guys. It does not at all. And again, let your vendors know. Okay, so you also need to prepare and think about the location of the demonstration. Again, another lesson learned. Does it have running water? That's an important thing to check, because I've been there and sometimes they don't. So making sure that you really truly assess the situation and know what all you have at your market or wherever that you're cooking and what you're doing. So our participants going to be able to hear and see you. So sometimes on live, if the person holding the camera is far away from the person talking, they won't be able to hear you. So again, testing it, really understanding your environment, or maybe there's a live band. Okay, well that presents a whole nother situation. So maybe understanding like, okay, ask them, coordinate with them. Can we take a quick break or go to vendors at different times? Again, finding out if samples are allowed, make sure and check with your health department. That's really important. Each, I believe, county is different. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. And then how much time are you allowed to set up? Like you saw us today, you can do it in 10 minutes. It's quick and dirty. It's not the most graceful thing, but you can do it. But it's also nice if you have a little bit more time. So there's lots of options. It's also helpful to create simple talking points. You don't have to, but again, it just really kind of helps you anticipate, because that way when you're cooking, you don't really have to think about that part of it. You can talk about what you'd already planned to talk about. Again, how do people find you? I think that's really important, and why they should visit your market. So how to choose recipes, again, making sure it should, look good, smell great, taste wonderful, nice and colorful. I think that's one of the reasons that we chose this recipe, is because it's so pretty and it's really easy to do. Again, like I said, become familiar with it and just kind of really understand how to highlight it all. Okay, like I said, ONIE can help you with all of these materials. So if you're a SNAP accepting market or you serve a SNAP audience, these materials are free to you. So there's a QR code there. We also have this at our table at the expo. You guys are welcome to. We'll ship them to you. But we have things like calendars. We have produce recipe cards, recipe booklets, produce guides, all of those kinds of things. And that's one of the things that we are funded to do, is to provide those materials to you. So come see us, and if you have suggestions, please let us know, because I am one of the people that helps make these things. So I would love to know what you need at your market, because that helps me create things that you need. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to turn it over to Miss Diana here, and I'm going to get ready to help you cook.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, if you can help me start with the beef.
Yep, and then you just
okay. This one?
Yeah, you just
Okay, thank you. Okay, thanks, Stephanie. So, we are just talking about food safety tips. So it's very important to remember the 2-hour rule. And during summer, there is 1-hour rule. So basically what it means is that, for example, that meat that we have right there, it should not be out of the fridge for more than 2 hours. So we always teach this to our NEAs, and that's what they teach to the public. And of course, Stephanie had everything in the fridge right before coming to this room. so we just want to make sure you guys know that the meat was in the fridge. But of course, during summer, when it's 104, right, in Oklahoma, that goes down to 1 hour. So for example, our NEAs, every time they do a food demo, they need to make sure they have all the food at the extension office and then get it from the fridge and go teach directly. So we don't want them carrying things around, in the car for too long. Of course, make sure that all the equipment, utensils, table are clean. And you guys saw that's what we did with Stephanie. She had everything pre-cut. Everything is clean. We were using our, gloves. That's very important. Always wash your hands before starting the demo. This is very interesting. There will be places where you don't have water accessible right there. Like if you don't have a kitchen every time you are going to teach to a food demo, for example, now. So sometimes if you are not able to wash your hands like right in the morning, you can use, hand sanitizer and always make sure to use gloves. But of course, if you are in a kitchen, we always recommend, washing your hands. Avoid touching your face, your hair during the demo. And as you can see, both of us have our hair back because we are gonna do the food demo. So that's always a good idea to just get your hair out of your face so you don't have the temptation of going like this, right? So we love that. Okay, wear gloves. I already say that. Avoid cross-contamination. So for example, because Stephanie had already cut the vegetables, we only have this cutting board, for the meat. But if we were gonna cut the vegetables now, we always recommend having 2 different cutting boards. Also bring cleaning supplies, a trash can. We actually have that dirty dish, like if you are not able to have a trash can right next to you, you can have a tray to put all your dirty dishes, which we actually have down there. Paper towels, dish towels, dish soap, and disinfecting wipes. That's always very important. Also, like she said earlier, always expect the unexpected, be prepared. For example, before doing this demo, we knew that we were in a room with a table. We needed to check if we needed an extension cord. So our NEAs always have to carry extension cords because they never know. They might be in a library or places where, you don't have the outlet right there. So little things like that are important to always remember. Also talk while working. When you are doing a food demo, it's a good idea to explain what you are doing. Of course, you need to make sure not to like speed, on top of the food. That you need to be careful. But then if you don't talk, right, and you just do it without talking, people can be like, bored. So we are going to do a little talking, and I promise I'm not going to speak. Okay, ask questions and answer questions. It's good to be like interactive with the community, and also ask for help. Like for example, today, when Stephanie invited me to present with her, she told me, "Do you need help with something in the food demo?" So I told her, "Yeah, it will be nice if you can start with the meat, while I do this part of the presentation, because that way we save, time." So yeah, it's always nice to ask for help if you have a partner. Some people can help you with timing or following the recipe, distributing handouts or sampling. Always make eye contact. and smile. That's always good. And basically enjoy the experience. That's very important because people are going to notice, right? During the actual demo, we also recommend, for example, in this table, because it has a tablecloth, we didn't need anything under the cutting board. But sometimes if you just have, for example, like a plastic table or a metallic table, sometimes the cutting boards can slide or the bowls. So we recommend sometimes having like a damp cloth underneath the cutting board or underneath the bowls, and that way it doesn't slide, and also it can cut on the noise. So it's a good idea. Also, having wooden spoons or plastic ones are better than metal. Whole bowls from the top, sorry, from the bottom, not from the lid. And of course, because we are always worrying about food safety, we don't want to grab the bowls from here, but from underneath, especially if we are passing it around, people. In this case, we have most of the bowls are transparent, so you guys are able to see. But sometimes if we don't have transparent bowls, it's a good idea to always tip them a little bit so that people can see, what you are doing, especially if they are not transparent. Of course, you need to be careful not to spill. If you spill it, don't use it. Make sure you throw it away. That's why it's a good idea to always have paper towels. If you make a mess, you can just clean and throw it and then continue. If you are using, for example, a blender or something, equipment, don't talk while you are using it, because the people are not gonna, like if you are explaining the recipe but you turn on the blender, they are not gonna hear you anyway. So we always recommend our NEAs to remember this. And also, it's always nice to end with a finished product on a clear table. So yeah, we always recommend, like, for example, we brought this today. Whenever we finish, we are gonna put it in that table that is very clean. And always whenever you finish a food demo, it's good that people see that you are like cleaning, because that's part of what we teach is food safety. So that's the end of the presentation. Now we are going to do the food demo. And as you guys can see, this is the recipe here. Also, I know Stephanie has copies here of the recipe. So did everybody get one of these? Or, okay, because otherwise I was going to pass it around, but no, it's okay. I don't know. I think everybody has, yeah, I think everybody has one. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so basically what Stephanie is doing right now, she's cooking the ground beef on the skillet, and she's going to add the chili powder, and she's going to cook it from 8 to 10 minutes. And I'm going to start making this salad. So I think I can do, I think you guys hear.
I can hold it for you. As soon as this is done, I'll hold it for you.
Yeah.
See, it's good to have
But
buddies.
but do you think if I just talk like that, they will hear me,
think
or
it's
is
for the
better?
camera,
Okay.
yeah.
Good. Yes. So if you can please come here to my left.
Boom.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right here?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So I'm going to put my gloves. And so what I'm going to do first. Okay, so I'm at that point where I need reading glasses.
Reading glasses.
Yes, just reading, but I'm at that age. Okay, so I just want to make sure, like, this is something that, I know this recipe, but since I'm going to show everything that I will do in front of an audience. So the first thing is to like read the recipe, or in this case, we are showing it over there. So as you can see in number 2, it says in a large bowl, add the lettuce, and I already put the ingredients in order. So I'm going to add the lettuce, then the beans, oh, thank you, the tomatoes, corn, onions, and the queso fresco. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Thank you.
This salad looks great, doesn't it?
Something that we love, I think I'm just gonna use two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that we love about this salad, this recipe, like Stephanie said earlier, is the fact that it has like different colors, is very, very colorful. So we love that. Okay, I have my, okay, I'm going to use this. No, I think, no, it's okay. So, no, I was looking for the other spoon, but this is fine.
You can hold it now.
Uh,
If you want to. Yeah. Just so you have to. Okay. Let me do that. I can also help narrate for you too if you want me to.
something that we love, oh, sorry.
Oh, here, let me come on that side.
Yeah.
Got you.
Something that we love is that it's very like colorful. So now I'm just gonna mix all of these. Yeah. Actually, you know what?
You want tongs?
Yeah. No, I'm going to have a spoon.
Okay. That and there's tongs in there too.
I think this one I think will work better. So yeah, I just added the beans. And okay, I'm going to add the tomatoes. This looks really good. I love these ones because they are different colors. So it's, red, yellow, and a little bit like purple, I will say. Some of them are a little bit purple. So that's even better because then it's going to add more. And again, I'm going to put this in the container that we have as a tray for dirty stuff.
There's lots of different ways that you can set up your table too. You can do your ingredients in order. It's whatever that you're comfortable with. So you can create your spread however you want. Sometimes you have lots of room, and then sometimes we have a really skinny table. So
Yeah, I always like to make sure that, people can see what I'm doing. So yeah, what you are not using is better to just get it like out of the way, And I get it, yeah. Yeah, it's good. Okay, so next I'm going to put the corn. So we are going to add some yellow color, yellow color. I think I might just open this one, right? Because it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot, guys. So, so yeah, after you mix it.
sorry, I didn't bring big enough bowl.
Yeah, it's big, but it's good. It's good. We just need to be like a little bit more careful. Like I just need to be careful so I don't put it all. Okay. So after the corn is the onions, like green onions. So I'm going to add that right now.
I didn't measure them out, so you can put how much ever you want.
Oh, I think we are okay. Like, well,
That's one thing I did when I cut it all up too, is so it called for 2 onions. I cut up the entire amount just in case, so I had extra. So I knew that depending on how many people we had in the room, so you can always prepare differently depending on what your audience is going to be, how much you already have.
yeah. And yeah, this is what I was saying, that you always want to keep it, clean. Okay. So after the onions, then the next one is the queso fresco. So also, as you guys can see, I have added, several different vegetables. Now I'm adding the cheese, which is, dairy, but it also adds protein. And oh, and the beans. Okay, the beans also have protein. So basically, only in this salad, you already have like 3 food groups. You have the cheese, the dairy, you have the beans that give you protein, and then you have the fruits and vegetables. So, sorry, the vegetables, no fruit. Well, technically, with the tomato. Yeah, technically the tomato is a fruit, yeah. So we can say like 4 groups are here. But yeah, I have another bowl underneath, so I think I'm going to move some of these to the other one so I can mix it better. But basically, this will be like the salad. And the idea is that once the beef is done, the idea is that we put like we mix the beef with the salad. And then for the top, we have the lime, the yogurt with lime and cilantro dressing, basically. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, yeah, I think now it looks better.
If you want to put the other one in the bowl, I'll get you the small bowl.
Okay. Mhm. You mean like half and half?
Yeah, and I'll get you a bowl for the dressing.
For the dressing.
Mhm. Okay, now we got a bowl. And like Diana was saying too, that's why, so you can also pack plastic bowls. Sometimes it's very helpful that they're lighter and that they don't break. But the nice thing when you're doing a cooking demo is that they're clear. So people really like to see the color of the food. So you have to think about it from an audience member too. So if you're sitting in the audience or watching from home, it's okay if you don't have clear bowls, but it's really important to hold the bowl up and really show what the contents are for your audience so they can kind of see it. So I know this is clear, but kind of like Diana's been showing you and always narrating what's going into the bowl, it's always really helpful, especially for those that either have a hard time seeing, maybe can't see in the camera, or maybe they're just a little bit further away, maybe walking down, the path during the market.
Now that I've done this, and like I say, if you have, I'm just going to move this out of the way, the stuff that I already use. Because like we were saying earlier, we want to make sure it's always, like clean. So, I mean, and again, if you are normally in a, you normally will have maybe like a, trash can right there or like another table. But in this case, we are just gonna do the best that we can. Okay, so I'm actually going to check the recipe for this because, so yeah, the recipe says number 3 is in a small bowl, have the yogurt.
That's also not measured.
Yeah, I was like,
I chopped all the cilantro up because,
yeah. So I have this little spoon that I use for the cheese, because it's dairy, it's okay to use this. It's the same food group, so
I agree with that.
so I'm using the one I use for the cheese. Okay. So then for this one, we can just go like that. The
Sorry.
no, it's okay. Well, sometimes
That's
sometimes people don't have all the tools.
that's a perfect example. So we carry a lot of different tools, but sometimes we also, depending on who we're cooking for, won't use them, especially if we know, maybe people don't have lime squeezers. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I think I see it now on the little tray. So yeah, you did this. This makes it easier, but not everybody has one of these at home, so that's something that we also. I'm silly. That's something that we tell. I was like, yeah, if I do it upside down, I'm going to splash myself. Yeah, we always tell our NEAs also that sometimes people don't have all the things that we have. So for example, our NEAs don't have this necessarily. And one time, one of them wanted to buy like a rice cooker or something, and we were like, no, that's not really a good idea, because when you are teaching somebody how to make rice and they don't have a rice cooker, then it's not a good idea. So yeah, sometimes it's okay if we don't have every little tool, because a lot of our participants, might not have everything. So I'm going to do it like this because I know I'm not gonna use all the cilantro just in case, because it's kind of a strong, and I don't know like if everybody would like it. What do you guys think? Should I use all the cilantro? You guys like cilantro? Oh, okay. Okay.
Don't encourage us. We'll do it.
If you want to, I'll do it. And I'm gonna do it on top of this.
Mhm.
So at least
Would you be able to help us serve? Okay. If you'll help us serve, there is gloves right there, and then there are bowls and napkins. And so, does anybody want to try it? No. Okay. All right.
So then it says here, just before serving, pour dressing over salad and toast to coat. Then top with chips and serve. So we have, okay, so I'm going to write that.
And then while we're serving, we can take your questions as well.
Okay, that's
Is
a
that her?
good question.
I said-
Yeah, that's a good question. For this specific project that we did, we trained them together with ONIE, because they are our NEAs, so we need to be included, but then it was ONIE's idea, the project, so we trained them together. And because everything was virtual, we had to just train them over Zoom. But for example, this summer, the idea is that we can train them, like in person. Yeah.
So will that be on your website, like how?
Okay, that's a good question. NEAs are actually employees of OSU, but if you want this program that we presented, if you wanted it in your farmer's market, you can contact, ONIE, and then we can all do it together. And then our NEAs will go, yeah. So like if we have NEAs in your county, our NEAs can go and do the project.
That one will be ready, and then she'll mix that one.
Yes, but yeah, that's a really good question. So we have the people, basically the manpower, so we can do it for you. The only problem is we don't have any.
She can serve that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one is good.
Thank you for
Thank
helping
you.
us serve.
Thanks, that saves a lot of time.
Oh, the beef.
The beef
Oh,
is
dang.
on top, yeah.
So actually what I typically do, we'll just put it on top. So once you actually put it in the bowl, if you'll just put it like scoop a little bit on top.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was planning. And the same with the chips. I'm gonna let her serve, and then we can put a little bit of the chips on top and a little bit of the beef. So yeah, we didn't forget. But yeah, that's a good question. If we have any A's in your counties, we will be more than happy to partner with you and ONIE, like the three of us. And the NEA can go do it. Yeah. Perfect.
Probably serve the,
Yes,
There's-
thank you.
there's that, and the chips and the beef go on top. Yeah.
I'm going to open. the-
Okay.
Market tour, the virtual tour,
Mhm.
are they just showing the market? Are they hiring vendors? Or they have virtual people?
Okay, so the question was like, what are they covering in the video? Okay, that's a really good question. So her question was, what do the NEAs cover in the video? So it's a little bit personal and it's a little bit different for each of them, but typically we ask them to, walk around the market and kind of the whole thing. And so, so when I was watching the Lawton video, there were some non-produce vendors in there, or there were just, people selling different like arts and things like that. And so it's okay to include those things too. You really want to use this as an opportunity to showcase your market. So it's okay to show the non-produce items too. Again, this is just produce focused because that was our goal in all of this. But yeah, you're wanting to talk to the vendors. I would go around and talk to all of them if you can. It may be different if you have a really large market. That might be a little bit harder, maybe featuring different sections of it. I think there's a lot of different ways to make it fit whatever your environment is. Yeah.
Within how long are your videos?
I think the one that I watched from Lawton was like 45 minutes or so. And then the one that I watched from Muskogee. Okay. 8 to 10. Yeah. So again, it's a little bit different for everyone. Like, so the one in Lawton was very conversational, talked about each of the markets for a little while. So it kind of depends on, the NEA or whoever's leading it too, and what your time availability is. But I would say like drawing it out a little bit is helpful because they want to see, they want to see things. But it also, if you want to just do a quick one, because that's what you have time to do, that's okay too, because live videos will stay on your stream.
And did you ever get like participants on the market? You're highlighting vendors or whatever.
Oh, you definitely see people shop.
People from the crowd saying, hey, why do you?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to ask a participant or ask a shopper, like what's your favorite thing about, shopping at the market, that's always an awesome idea. You may want to ask, ahead of time and just let people know it's really important to put out a sign that says you're filming that day. You really need to do that because there are sometimes, there are people that can't be filmed or choose not to be. So it's really important that you put a sign out. And so that, I believe that's what covers you, right, Jade? Sorry to call on you, Jade. Okay. That's what I think we always did, was actually having that sign. Sorry, Jade, I didn't mean to call on you, but But yeah, you want to put a sign out. So just make sure that you're asking people to film them. But yeah, you can show like the overall landscape of the market. Not if you have the signs posted, is my understanding. Yeah. And you'll want to definitely check with your market manager, make sure, kind of just keep everybody on the same page. But the best way to avoid issues is always post a sign letting people know you're going to film. And then also if you're walking around, you can usually tell if people, sometimes people don't mind being in front of a camera, and you can tell people will kind of shy away. I think it's important when you're moving your camera around to be a little bit, not slow, but you don't want to like make people seasick, but also it gives people an opportunity to move out of the way. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. So the NEA, so it kind of depends on who the staff are, but yes, you definitely need a food handler's license. Each of your counties are going to be a little bit different as far as their requirements, as far as what you need. I would recommend that you check with your county health department. They will tell you exactly what you need. But yes, we all had food handlers licenses, and the NEAs are highly trained. So they are very well trained and they have all that. But yeah, our staff all have food handler license. Even if there's a possibility that they'll never touch food, it's always a good idea. And it's, I think, $15, and you can do it virtually to do a simple food handler's license. But you need to check your requirements, as far as hand washing stations. I live in Cleveland County. I know they're pretty strict. So hopefully health department's not here.